Hello, hello. Is this good enough? Can you hear? All right, good. My name is Dave McGrath. We thank you all for coming out in this heat. It is cooler near the lake. When we left our house on 39th Avenue, it was 102 degrees. We got down here, it was 100 degrees, so shut up. It's cooler near the lake. We're going to get you out of here in 15 minutes, and we're going to go right across the street to the Rathskeller, which is air-conditioned, okay? We'll get you over there. We have a lot of people to thank who made this happen along the way. First and foremost would be Mayor John Antaramian and the Kenosha City Council. They paved the way for this. We wanted to place the memorial over there right on Madrigrano Marina Shores, the old Eagles Club. That didn't come to pass. Guida talked to the mayor. He said, how about this? So we said, yeah, that's great. And then, of course, COVID came along and things sort of died down. But about 3 weeks ago, we drove past here just to see what it was looking like, and the paving bricks were in. And that was nice. And then we came down Sunday because our sculptor, Martin Antaramian, was actually installing it, and we saw all these beautiful flowers. So thanks to Mayor John Antaramian and his Kenosha City Council for that. I know some council members are here. I know Bill Seal is here. This is his district. Thank you, Bill. Thanks for coming. I saw Roland Pizzala. He's here. Who else? Jack Rose. I just saw Jack Rose walk up with his wife, Sue. There he is. Dominic Ruffalo, one of the greatest runners in the history of Kenosha, right there, showing off with the half marathon T-shirt there. And did I miss any other councilmen or county board members? Good, for there. So many of you know why we're here, because the Winter Dance Party played right across the street 63 years ago in 1959. Buddy Holly was the main attraction. Richie Valens was on the bill. At that point, he had 2 hit records. Big Bopper had Chantilly Lace. And Dion and the Belmonts were the bottom of the bill. Guida and I have been fortunate enough to work with Dion for about 35 years. We do his tour merchandise. So if you ever go to a Dion show and you come out, we're the knuckleheads selling the T-shirts and the CDs. So that presence, the Winter Dance Party's always had a presence in our life because of our 35 years with Dion. And this was the second date on that tour. It opened in Milwaukee on January 23rd. It came here on January 24th. And then they zigzagged across the country. This is before rock stars were stars. They were really the bottom feeders of the entertainment. And they weren't treated well. So I think if you know the story, I've got a friend here who's going to tell you a little bit more about it. They were in a broken down school bus that didn't have heat, and they zigzagged them back and forth from Wisconsin to Minnesota to Iowa to Wisconsin to Minnesota, and it was a terrible tour. Guida and I did that tour. We did it in the logical, geographical way, and we cut 1,000 miles off of that date. And we went to every venue. Some are still standing. Some have been repurposed. Some have just been knocked down. They're gone. Some of them have wonderful memorials. Green Bay, Wisconsin has a wonderful memorial. If you're a music fan and you've never been to the Surf Ballroom in Clear Lake, Iowa, which was the final date of the tour, you need to go. It's just an amazing place to go. It's actually now a museum, and everything's preserved. You can go backstage, and the wall is signed by every star who's ever played there. It's just a fabulous, fabulous place to go. So when we got back, we figured Kenosha needed a memorial to mark its place in history. This is really a small piece of music history, but an important piece of music history. So we didn't know what to do. We thought maybe we'd get a sculptor. We don't know sculptors. So we called our friend Jenny Tunkeys. Jenny's right over here. Jenny, longtime chief of staff for now retired County Executive Jim Cruiser. Jenny and her mom are big supporters of the arts. They're very important in that sculpture walk over here on the harbor. They've got a fabulous sculpture in front of their house, so we called Jenny. Jenny, we need a sculptor. Who do you recommend? She says, Martin Antaramian. All right. So I hand the job off to Miss Brown here. Oh, I forgot to tell you, this is my lovely wife, Guida Brown. Look at her in pink and black. This happened at my wedding. It didn't fare well for me. So we got a hold of Martin Antaramian and just told him what we were looking for. He came up with the vision, which you're going to see here in just a moment. And this all started just before COVID, and then, of course, everything took a nosedive. And I'm not sure exactly how many man-hours Martin put into it, but when you see it, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous piece of work, and we're extraordinarily impressed, extraordinarily happy. Martin came here Sunday to install it with his dad, John. John can't be here today because he's at a Great Lakes conference up in Ontario. That's why he couldn't be here. But he was here Sunday with Grandpa as well to see it, and he was so happy and so proud of it. And as they were walking here, Mr. and Mrs. Mrs. Antaramian, Martin's mother, said, "I told you we were going to be late if we didn't get moving faster than this." But they got here in time and they watched the installation. Yeah. So I'm going to take a short break. I've talked enough, but a friend of mine, Jim McCool from Madison, is actually working on a documentary about the Winter Dance Party. He's been working on it for a while with a partner. And when you see him and you want to talk to him when we get over there, do talk to him because he's an expert on the Winter Dance Party. Jim McCool, come on up. Thank you, Jim.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being out here on such a hot day, and I'd like to thank Dave McGrath for inviting me. My name is Jim McCool. I'm an amateur music historian and documentarian, and I am in the works of currently producing a documentary about the Winter Dance Party Tour, which is obviously why we're here today. One of the stops was here on January 24th of 1959. I just want to give you a little bit of an overview of what the significance of this tour was. This was the second stop on a very brutal tour. Back in the 50s and 60s, it was very common for large bus tours to tour regionally. The upper Midwest was a popular place, but most of the time those tours happened in the warmer months, and they were big tours too, up to 20 to 25 acts. Well, a company called General Artists Corporation in January of 1959 decided to put together a small tour in the upper Midwest, which was a bad idea from the start because, obviously, as we all know, how cold it is here at that time of year. And it was also a very, very bad winter in 59. A lot of snow, very, very cold. So everybody went on this tour. There were only 5 acts on the tour. As Dave mentioned, Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, the Big Bopper, Dion and the Belmonts, and a guy named Frankie Sardo. And they were basically, they had no idea what they were getting into. They were just kind of going with it. They needed the money, most of the guys, and as Dave said, they weren't exactly treated the best. The tour buses that these guys traveled on were very, very they're repurposed school buses and old Trailways buses, nothing special like you see today. These are just standard seating layouts in a bus, and no facilities or anything like that. So after they played Milwaukee on January 23rd, which was completely, normal, uneventful concert, they came here, and there was a man named Tony Zickel, who was a professional photographer, who took photos that night, and there's really probably some of the best photos that ever came out of that entire tour, because it really shows these guys having fun. And it shows them, this is before everything went bad on the tour, because after Kenosha, I believe this tour went all the way to Montevideo, Minnesota, and it's in the middle of nowhere, Minnesota, and it's a tremendously long haul. And as Dave mentioned, the tour zigzagged without any really rhyme or reason up across Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin. And it put so much stress on the buses, especially that time of year. The bus started breaking down. Sometimes it was the heater that wouldn't work. Sometimes the engine would seize up. They had to switch buses more than once, but the bus situation never got better. And after one particular breakdown in northern Wisconsin, Buddy Holly decided that was it, and he decided he wanted to charter an aircraft. And the next concert was February 2nd in Clear Lake, Iowa at the Surf Ballroom. And during the course of that concert, Buddy was making arrangements to set up a chartered flight, which he did. And sadly, that plane, after the concert, it crashed about 5 minutes after taking off, and it took the lives of Buddy Holly and Richie Valens, who was only 17, and the Big Bopper, as well as the pilot, Roger Peterson. And to give you an idea of exactly how these guys were treated, you would think under any circumstance like that a tour would just stop. It wouldn't go any further. it would be over. It was already a financial disaster. But no, General Artists Corporation insisted that the artists continue the tour with replacement acts. And let me tell you, if you look at photos from before February 3rd from that tour and photos from after February 3rd, you see such a dramatic difference in the on the faces of not just the performers but the fans, because there's just such sorrow. But this tour, it changed things eventually. There wasn't anything quite as bad as this, a tour quite as bad as this after that. But it's certainly, the Eagles Club here, to me, this represents the last time that these guys were really, really happy on this tour. And it's exhibited beautifully in Tony Zickel's photographs, which I believe you're going to be seeing some of across the street. And that's pretty much, in a nutshell, what I wanted to tell you folks today. I'll be across the street to talk to anyone who wants to speak, and thank you very much for having me.
We're going to get you in the air conditioning soon. We have some very important people we still need to thank. Inside you'll find a silent auction with a lot of items from the Surf Ballroom. They pulled out the original dance floor and put a new one in, and they cut that into pieces. And so we have some of that memorabilia, some t-shirts. We have a lot of memorabilia from Time and Again Music and Memories, a great collectible store. Music and More, a great collectible store up on Highway 11 in Racine. That's Ray and Mary Ann Zirkel's store. They're big shots, so they're up in Door County, but their daughter Trish and their son Sean here today, and they made a lot of donations, a lot of help for us on this project. Yes, we have some copies of those Tony Zickel photographs available for bid on the auction. Guido and I planted the seed money for this memorial, and then we started to take donations, and then COVID hit. And last month in November, I had lunch with a longtime friend of mine at the Mars Cheese Castle. He called me up and said, "Why don't you come to the Mars Cheese Castle, we'll have lunch." He is the retired CEO of Briggs & Stratton. He's an avid music fan. He's a tremendous collector of music memorabilia, one of the biggest in the world. He's a great guitar player. He's a board member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I know what you're thinking, how the hell do I know him? His name is John Shealy. He gave us a major donation to push us towards the finish line on this. And John is right here. Thank you very much, John. One of the most generous, kind people I've ever met. I've got to tell you this Gene Pitney story very quickly. I've got to. So Gene Pitney was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2008 or 2009. Guido and I worked with him for 25 years. The hall gives each artist at that point 2 tickets to come to the event. Well, Gene's got 3 kids and a wife. He needs more tickets. Gene doesn't want to pop for the $2,500 per ticket. He wasn't going to show up for his own induction. I got talking to John about it because he was going to come to the event with his wife Helen, and Guido and I were going to go. John, again, just so generous. He bought a table of 12, so Gene could have his family there, and Guido and I could go, and friends were there. And again, thank you very much for that, John. Also, once John got us that close to the finish line, we needed to get over, and you've heard these names before. Jenny and Mary Tunkeys came in with the final donation we needed to get us over the finish line. We knew we could do it. We contacted Martin, and he went full speed ahead to finish our memorial. And at this point, I'd love to bring the always lovely and truly delightful Jenny Tunkeys. Nope, hang on.
You want to bring Martin up, right? Martin, no, he wants to unveil it.
Okay, we'll do that first.
Yeah.
All right. I learned to do what I'm told. So I'm sorry, Jenny. Before Jenny comes up, we're going to have Martin Antaramian join us up here, and Martin and Guida are going to unveil the sculpture.
Did you draw a picture?
You want me to take a picture?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to stand here and look good, okay?
Okay.
Looks like I'm not good. You need me to do anything? I don't.
I just got outside these bungees first.
All right, this is unscripted. But I do want to point out, because people have asked why it looks the way it does and why it's the size it is and what have you. So the front of it is facing the Eagles Club. That's how we wanted that. It says the date on the bottom, Winter Dance Party, January 24th, 1959 at the Eagles Club. The front of it has a snowflake for the Winter Dance Party. The guitar itself is to memorialize Richie Valens. It's got Buddy Holly's glasses on it. And the top, and this might be my absolute favorite part, my sister suggested that we make it somehow interactive, my sister Kit Stevenson. So I'm going to go demonstrate, okay? So when you get your picture taken, today's selfie day, remember? When you get your picture taken, this is what you got to do.
Hello, baby.
And then the back does have all the stars who are on the show.
Now, the always lovely and truly delightful Jenny Tunkeys, one of our major donors.
Thank you. My mother, Mary Tunkeys, couldn't be here today. She's in the hospital, but she and I both want to thank Guida Brown and Dave McGrath. Let's hear it for them. They recognized this historic oversight and inspired people to rave on and set it right. Get it? Yeah, okay. And Martin Antaramian, thank you so much. I think you've done a wonderful job of really bringing together two universal languages, music and art, and hopefully this will inspire future generations to create both. So the deaths of Holly Valens and the Big Bopper so shook the nation that the day the music died was commemorated in the Don McLean song American Pie. So we're going to mark today's event by singing the chorus together 2 times through. All right? You know it. You know it. And they were singing, bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing, this'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die. One more time. So bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And them good old boys were singing whiskey and rye, singing, this'll be the day that I die.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you very, very much. I want to get that store right, that collectible store. Time and again, memories and more. Time and again, music and more. Speaking of music, the vinyl remix is going to be performing from 5 to 6. Head on over now to the Rathskeller. It's air conditioned over there. There's a cash bar and there's some snacks. Thank you all very much for coming. Come and take some pictures too if you'd like.